Hello there. Hey, what's going on, guys? And welcome to another episode of Conspiracy Cantina. I am your host, Ryan DePaul, or Jedi Master DePaul, whatever you may choose. So welcome. Thank you for basically coming back. We appreciate that. I know it's been about a month since we had a live one, or even a episode. Getting better. Been busy. But yes, we are here. And in this episode, we have some cool and amazing guests that will be talking about a couple of things. Of course, we'll be talking about the Bad Batch episode that recently happened and the Mandalorian episode. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them in because you may know some of these guys if you have watched, I guess, any of the episodes, or if you're on TikTok or social media like that and you like Star Wars inside the Star Wars community. So let me pull these guys in. What's up, fellas?
What's up?
Hello. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Can't complain. Yeah, how's it going for you guys?
Doing pretty dang good, honestly. All things
Busy.
considered.
Busy.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
feel that.
it's still the holidays for Walmart, so they're always randomly just putting things up.
Yeah,
No, I get
there's
it.
pretty
I
much
get it.
always a
Retail.
holiday going on, right?
Mhm.
Yes. With retail, I understand that, Kenny. So I used to do retail. I used to work at the big orange box.
Ooh.
Yeah, for 8 years, and I don't do that no more. So I'm happy. But yes. So this episode, what we're doing is, like I said, talking about a couple of things. It's going to be a fun, lighthearted episode, but we had some great episodes drop. The season premiere of season 3 of Mandalorian dropped, and the Bad Batch newest episode dropped last week. And if you're watching this, it's Tuesday, so the new ones are dropping tomorrow, or I should say midnight tonight.
Mhm.
Yep.
So that's just like a whole. So we probably gonna touch on that one too. Just a little kind of predictions on where it's gonna go and what we hope to see. But yeah, guys, it's with that said, first let's go ahead and do our introductions. And tell the people where you are, where they can find you guys, and who you are. So hop in there.
You go first.
Okay. I am Cal. Cal for pretty much anywhere, Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Big Star Wars fan, have been for pretty much as long as I've had memory. And yeah, no, I stream a bunch of different games. We will definitely be streaming the new Fallen Order when that comes out. Or technically not Fallen Order, it's Jedi Survivor, but still, yes. That's going to be a blast and a half. But yeah, you can find me primarily on Twitch, Thursdays through Sundays, at twitch.tv/Cal4.
I go now? Okay.
Yep.
What's up, everybody? My name is Darthman86. Kenny, for those who know me the best. You can primarily find me on TikTok as descripted right here, and also on Twitter, Darthman_86, where all I do is talk Star Wars and Marvel, more specifically the MCU. I just like Cal, I've been a longtime fan of Star Wars since early 90s when I was a little child. Ever since I saw Luke literally just light up the young Slayer 3000, just I've been enthralled with it. Star Wars has been my life, has always been my life. It'll always be for part of my life. I will never know a day without it. Plain and simple.
Awesome, man. And yes, I feel you on that one. I'm the same way. It's like we're all fans in our own way. Some may think that we're a bigger fan than others, but honestly, we're all the same fans. It's this how we hyperfixate on certain things of it. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
if you guys don't know, I am Ryan DePaul, Jedi Master DePaul, and you can find me on TikTok and here, Conspiracy Cantina. So with that, yeah, we're gonna hop right in. And we want to say, thank you to the people who are watching from home. We appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to chime in also, and go go back and forth with us. We love that. We love the interaction of the chat because you are a part of this too. This makes this what works as well. So with that said, we had 2 new episodes last week. Bad Batch episode, and I'm gonna talk about that one because I haven't even gave a review on that one, and it was a good one for me. I would say it's a good one, but we'll talk about that. And then we had also The Mandalorian season 3, first episode premiere, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. We had some Easter eggs, but I enjoyed it too. What do you guys think about? Let's say, yeah. What do you guys think about both of them? I mean, what did you like about it? What did you like it? Did you not like it? Good, weak.
Honestly, I loved every bit of both episodes. They were fantastic. Again, as we are going to discuss later, I feel that one's stronger than the other. But for both franchises, it was good to see some actual strong storytelling out of an animated project, being Bad Batch this last week's episode. Very beautiful. I have high hopes on what we're going to see this week, tomorrow, or what is going to be coming up here in the near future. Mando, definitely, again, beautiful episode. Great reintroductions to the characters, great reintroductions to the Western world, if you will, the very Western style. But love the hidden Easter eggs, love the little side mission things that they were doing. We're going to get IG-11 back. Huge plus on my book. Huge plus. I love that character. Like I said, I just feel like the season 3 opener was a little weak for me. Just a little weak. But again, I'm up for debates. But for me, both episodes were amazing. Really good, strong opening for one. Great continuation to the other. Star Wars as a whole is amazing. We got fed beautifully last week.
Man, we are feasting as Star Wars fans for sure.
We are.
I've always said that like more Star Wars is good Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly I think we'll always feel that. Even if it's like part of a show where you don't particularly care about the characters or, you know, a different aspect of the Star Wars universe that might not speak to you directly, because it's going to speak to someone. And I think that's one of the more interesting things for me between both The Mandalorian and The Bad Batch kind of running simultaneously, as we hear, you know, one part of the audience that loves The Bad Batch so much, you know, cheering because they're getting so much awesome stuff, and the same thing with fans of The Mandalorian. So it's like, whether or not, for me, like you feel that one is better than the other, anything like that, like at the end of the day, more Star Wars is good Star Wars. It's gonna make, you know, the whole like project that is Star Wars more money, which means we're just gonna get more shows, more stuff that you also like. So it is always kind of funny to see people like shoot one down for no reason when it's like, I mean, you don't have to watch it. But I get it as somebody who like lives Star Wars, that like you're gonna want to watch it, right? So it can be a little disappointing if it doesn't live up to your expectations. But for me personally, for like the last 2 episodes, I kind of agree with Kenny in a way that like Mando felt a little weak, but for me that was because I think the majority of what we got just felt like it was stuff that we've already seen in trailers. So I'm glad we're getting that out of the way so we can like go full force into a bunch of the new stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like it kind of checked all of the boxes of what I was wanting and what I was kind of expecting based on the trailers we got. But then we also got little treats here and there too. So that was a lot of fun to kind of see some of those little nods towards other Star Wars projects and stuff like that too. And to Kenny's point, Bad Batch, I'm not gonna lie, has been one that I've kind of just put on while like eating lunch and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh yeah, good Star Wars stuff. But this last episode's gotten me really like amped to see like what's coming up next, because they're really starting to like set the tone right now, and I'm like, oh man,
right? It's crazy.
Good.
It's getting real good. It's and I can agree to a certain extent. First of all, and yeah, so I enjoyed the hell out of Mandalorian. I didn't really have any like expectations. I didn't have like, oh, they're coming out this and this, because I felt that we were the last season. We were good with the last season, and with the trickle of him into the book of Boba Fett, we was like, okay, we kind of knew what was going on. So this is like more like all right, hey, you already know what's going on. Here you go. Let's get into this. And we're about to get to the nitty gritty of him going to Mandalore, or trying to become back a Mandalorian, regaining his honor. So I'm like, okay, so the opening was great. I loved it. And it was just like, okay, cool. It's action pack already. And like, this is some good stuff. I honestly thought it was a freaking flashback. I was like, oh, okay, we're going to talk about his origin more. Ooh, awesome. But no, it was like, oh, okay, there's something different. But
yeah, I think that was like a brilliant cinematography cutaway, if you will, or a fake.
mhm.
Like, we thought we were going to see like just how Din became a Mandalorian. This is
Yeah.
how all Mandalorians are. No, it turns out that this is supposedly Paz's kid.
Mhm.
So I'm just like, oh,
What-
okay. Wait.
speculation.
I honestly was kind of impressed by that scene just from a visual standpoint,
hmm
because typically when you have such a large creature in CG, it clashes with people.
Yeah.
Like, it's very clearly like, oh, that's just big CG monster fighting people that are doing nothing, right?
Mhm.
But it looked so good,
It did.
which was surprising with how fast they're pumping out these shows. Like, you
Man.
kind of expect that like some stuff's gonna slip between the cracks and be, it's a little gimmicky and stuff like that. But it was
Star Wars
clean.
is not the MCU.
Well, I mean-
They don't lax. Let's be real.
I mean,
debatable
enjoyed
at
it.
times, but still.
But I get
we
what you're
have
saying.
what was it? Dudes standing out from behind the corner in jeans or whatever on that
Yeah,
one
true.
episode. That was missed.
Dude, I have seen that
Stuff
meme
like
so
that,
many
like-
times today. I have seen it like 4 or 5 times today. I'm like, are you serious? Damn.
Well, it's just it's I mean, it's what happens, right? It's all part of the filmmaking process. But I think that their use of I can't remember the name of the actual like hardware and screens that they're using now.
Mhm.
Oh, the volume.
Volume, thank you. I was gonna say the vision. I'm like, that's not right. But their use of the volume has gotten better.
Mhm.
Significantly so. So like
Yeah.
I feel like we're seeing a lot more that's not on the volume as well. That like it is great for when it's needed for certain things to really help somebody feel like they're in a scene and stuff like that, but it's not always mandatory.
Yeah.
And I think that scene really played well, even though like I was just like you going in with no expectations. Like, what is this a scene of?
hmm
Like, is this old school? Is this new? Like, what's going on? And then you see obviously Din show up, and it's like, oh, okay. Now I know.
Now we get it.
No, yeah, it was crazy, but yeah, I was like, okay, that's So no expectations on that one. Also, before we move forward and goes to the Bad Batch and talk about that a little bit, chat, thank you. I want to say thank you and just welcome to Xavier. Looks like a new person. I'm not familiar with his name, but Xavier, thank you. I know that you entered the raffle, so the giveaway. So we'll be doing that at the end of the stream as well. Padawan, hey, what's going on? Yo,
Luke.
Dia in the forest. Hey, that gotta be Element. What's
Oh,
going
yeah.
on, buddy?
Dude, Jenny, where's your car? Like, that's going to be the topic throughout this entire cast. I guarantee.
Right?
Oh yeah, it's still on my mind.
Exactly. Holy crap. I caught me off guard. It was like, hey, where are we at? Is this Kenny? I was like, okay. But so yeah, so do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like, share this if you want to, but make sure please you hit that like. And if you are not already, subscribe, please. Appreciate that. Helps get this out so we can just do more things. With that said, Bad Batch, last episode, that was a banger, and I was not expecting that. Like you said, Bad Batch has been one of those. Oh, you turn it on while you're eating lunch. I turn it on to like I haven't been staying up to watch it drop on the midnight. I've been going to sleep. I can stay up. I've been going to sleep. I was like, you know what? this is my routine in the morning. I have a cup of coffee and watch my Star Wars, and that's
Do
what
the
I've been
same
doing. So but this one, Bad Batch, caught me off guard, and I will tell you this: the vibe I got from it was aliens, a little bit of Ghostbusters, the first one,
Yeah.
and what was the other one? And just a little Star Wars, but so I was like, wow, it had like a super alien vibe. I was like, okay, and so I was like, it was like a horror Star Wars, and the first thing I thought about was like because people used to ask, oh, we should get like a horror Star Wars movie or like that, or like if Star Wars was zombies, like if the stormtroopers was zombies or something like that. But I got that horror vibe from it, so I'm like, okay, this is different. It's a little darker for a kid show, but okay, let's go.
Well, for sure. I mean, you start a show, right, where you see a stormtrooper like running frantically through a ship and then just get massacred, and then they
Right.
find the like vibro staff of the guy later, and it's like, uh-oh.
It was
You're not alone.
fantastic. Great
Yeah.
entry.
Man, it was crazy. I enjoyed that one. I mean, I wouldn't say maybe a little bit more just because I wasn't expecting it, and just like how the suspense of it really. So I can see where you guys are coming from and saying, hey, I kind of enjoyed the Bad Batch more. But yeah, it's just like I guess the Mandalorians gives you more warm and fuzzies. I guess. I don't know.
Oh, for sure. I
I've
think
seen-
Mandalorian's always been kind of more of the, I don't want to say like fan servicey show,
Mhm.
because that sounds like demeaning to what it really is, but it
Mhm.
does bring everybody together in a lot of ways. It brings
Yeah.
new fans, brings old fans.
It was
Exactly.
the launch
that.
project. It was
Mhm.
the project that literally started Disney Plus. It's the project that has been the most consistent. There has been no arguments about it. We can talk like Andor, Obi-Wan, Bad Batch season 1 and 2, Book of Boba Fett all day. Like we can talk about all the rest of these projects. Eventually, we'll just come right back to Mandalorian and how good this series has been consistently through 2 full seasons.
You're right. And I think it's kind of like the same concept of Rebels,
hmm
a new character that we had no backstory of.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to develop it. And then he has to do some stuff in there, like you said, some, I don't want to call it fan service, but some familiar Star Wars iconic stuff and people and characters that have crossed their path and everything like that. But the same way that people fell in love with Rebels is a new story that was from something that was familiar, that was placed in in our familiar universe. So that whole thing is like, okay, cool, a new story.
And like the cameos that we wind up getting make sense, right? They're era pieces, they're characters that would be active. It'd almost feel weird if they didn't run into them. Which is why I think Pep is always so on Quinlan Voss. It's like he's still alive, he's still around, he's still doing stuff. Like, why isn't he around?
I believe
So,
it's
like,
gonna happen.
I get it, but I think Mando does that really well, where the characters we see and like the places we see and the environments and creatures and stuff like that makes sense, because that's the state of the galaxy at that period of time, and it feels like there's a lot of respect for that era, I think.
hmm
I agree.
It's post original. We're trying to keep to that familiarity of the older fans like us. Let's put ourselves in that category, please. But but they're also trying to still expand on some of the newer stuff, getting closer and closer to that sequel era, where a lot of the newer fans who have started from that era are now just like they're getting the full blunt of everything that we've spent decades honing on.
No, yeah, I can see that, and I understand that too. But yeah, so with that said, so with those two, they dropped last week, and then we got those tomorrow. What are some of your I would say not any predictions, but what is something that you want to see out of the two? Because I know with Bad Batch, they're about to really start pursuing the main storyline around Omega, or have like I wouldn't say the main storyline, but more of like the interaction and the what's the importance of Omega. So with that, and then we'll start with that one first.
If we're going to start with the batch, I'm definitely going to have to say it's kind of hard to predict the show when it's been so unpredictable as of right now. We've seen from season 1 just this group of random soldiers, specialized soldiers, trying just to live in a post-Empire world.
Okay.
Right? Now we're in season 2. They've established the lifestyle that they've chosen, but that world's still connected to them, regardless of what happens in the future. Now that world's come back to them. So now they recognize, oh crap, there's experimental clones going on. We need to collect this little girl, just like what Lama Su suggested. She might be interesting.
Okay.
Oh, for sure. I think that's probably one of the bigger takeaways from the episode is like the whole fact of like what does Omega mean to Lama Su? Like what is her grand design? Because like as much as it sucks to say, like they're clones, right? Like they are very much so their own individuals, but they are created at times there might be a direct purpose for it too. So it's kind of interesting to see where that's going. I never really have much in the way of like predictions or expectations or wants really, because I feel like that just sets you up to be disappointed. So I always like to just take it with like a fresh experience and be like, give it to me. Just it's all candy at this point. I was expecting Star Wars to be done with the prequels, so this is all just cake at this point.
I was actually kind of on the fence with Nala Se being shown that she's actually in prison. Like that takeaway from last week's episode, I was just like, okay, she actually fought against. Okay, woman, thank you. I still hate you for taking my favorite clone from me, but thank you for saying F you to the Empire. You're amazing.
Well, I mean, I think it's sympathetic, right? Because like her entire like species was just genocided by the Empire, right? And especially with news of it coming out that it was intentional. Yeah, of course there's rough stuff with that. But I think one of the interesting things that happened in that episode too was the identification to an extent of the Marauder itself. Now, like the pieces are coming together where the Empire really knows, hey, guess what? Bad Batch ain't gone. They're still around. They're still doing stuff. And with the like carrot on a stick that is now Omega, it's only gonna spell problems. So that's why I'm like, I'm concerned. And that's why I think I was more surprised by this episode of the Bad Batch, and I guess that's why like I don't even know if I could pick a favorite of the two, but it's the one that sticks out the most to me because now everything's going to really be snowballing.
Rock and roll.
I could be wrong, right? Next week could just be, hey, let's go get space burritos, and I'll still be here for it because I want to know more about space burritos.
So like if I get anything, it'll definitely be Boba trying to go after his own sister, and that's when he gets that realization. Like if I want anything at the rest of this season comes up to is Boba being contracted to hunt down Omega, and it turns out that he learns that she is his sister, the whole 9 yards. He lets her go, kind of like a one last like I wouldn't say leniency but mercy, because we're still dealing with young Boba. We're not dealing with older Boba who will not care and just kill you anyway or disintegrate you, whatever. This is still young Boba.
Yeah.
He could very well just let her go, no questions at all. And I would love to see that. Like them having like a heart-to-heart conversation almost. Because Omega's never learned of Jango, or at least as far as we know, she's never had any interactions with Jango. She might want to learn where she comes from.
Yeah, I think at this point, like I could be completely wrong, But I think like the way the timeline works out, that Django was already dead before Omega was created.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because I think Boba's technically like,
17, 18.
well, I don't remember how many years older he is than Omega, but I'm pretty sure it lines up in the way that Omega technically, maybe not before she was created, but before she was like old enough to know what's going on. Only 4 years? Why did I think it was older?
Interesting.
Hefty shrug. Well, thank you, Pep.
Good job, Pep. Leave it to the lore master to drop some knowledge like that.
Wait, hold on. Are you guys seeing comments?
I
have the.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
the
yeah.
live
If you-
feed.
I got. Wow, I got delayed. Wow. Okay, 4 years. Look at old Pep. Okay. Wow, it was delayed on my end. Okay. So that's a good mention of I like that idea because Boba coming in and trying to as a bounty hunter because he is a bounty hunter. He's with his people right now. Something like, and yeah, it could have that sentiment to like, hey, this is your clone. Okay, yeah, but you don't look like the other clones, and that whole conversation could happen. Yeah. Something though, why they're so interesting because Boba was the first strand that wasn't modified, right? From Django, and Omega is the last one. But I honestly think she was modified with the Bad Batch and stuff.
It's possible.
Like she's like the. So I think that the Bad Batch is what's me thinking is that they are like the mutated or the Bad Batch ones that had just like enhancements like Wreckers, they're super strong and each one have their special trait. I think Omega has a little bit of all of them. And she's like the last one. Like she is that piece that has all of theirs.
Like she's almost like a catalyst that gave birth to the Bad Batch.
Correct. She was what they was trying to make out of the Bad Batch, but put everything in one.
I don't know. It's tough. I think that there's a lot to think about until we get a concrete answer, or if we do.
Yeah.
I mean, really, any guess is as good as any.
Exactly. I mean, that's something that was wrong in my head. I never really actually put out there, but
I don't know because it's like I feel like with the timeline that it is, I feel like if anything, as far as like her purpose, it's going to be tied more into Palpatine's desire to try and make a Force sensitive clone. And I don't think that she's Force sensitive, but I think that there's some key between her and like Grogu and stuff like that like there's some big piece missing that he was looking for between these two characters.
I've always been on the assumption that she's been a strand cast, that she's not actually a direct clone, but like similar to what Dathan, Palpatine's son, is just basically a strand cast, just a somewhat of a mock DNA, and that's why she's so close, is because of the fact that she is that directly tied to Django.
Yeah, I think there's something here that it, especially with both of the shows running at the same time, like that's not an accident, right? So I feel like there's going to be some form of information bomb we're going to be getting between one of the two shows that really kind of starts to piece together the whole point of Palpatine's return and stuff like that.
Spoiler alert, Omega shows up in live action.
That would be really neat.
That'd be dope.
By Tamara Morrison as well.
That'd be Oh, that was getting clipped. Oh man. That would be dope though. Not by Tamara Morrison.
That would definitely be like a Saturday Night Live skit if there ever were one.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, this is the face.
I am the real Omega.
So with that said, so Bad Batch tomorrow. Mando tomorrow, and you was on something, Cal, with that. I think that's not. I don't think that's by accident. It's just lining everything up, so it's a big reveal. Oh, it makes sense. Oh, so now, no matter what, we both love them, and I want to touch on the whole storytelling of each one and why like, one was just a little bit better than the other one, and just storytelling in general around Star Wars. So we've evolved. I mean, in my opinion, is that Star Wars has evolved so much, and there's so different types of storytelling that, and just in general, like you have storytelling for a kid, so they can comprehend stuff. You have storytelling for adolescents. You have storytelling for adults. Because I remember just with Star Wars itself, like I enjoyed Return of the Jedi because of what I saw, like the Ewoks and all that stuff, like the flashes, the lights, and like, that's what caught my eyes as a kid. And then as I got older, I went to A New Hope. And you want to start getting like more of my like around like my double digits, not even teens, but double digits, preteens. A New Hope caught more of my attention. And then I started looking more at the plot and the story, like, I started to my comprehension skills start to freshen up and sharpen up. And then Empire blew my freaking mind. I became a teenager, like, what the hell? How did I miss all this?
Mhm.
So the different storytelling is just, I guess, in my eyes, it's at different times in our lives when we need it and when we understand it.
Well, for sure.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, I also think a big part of Star Wars itself is subverting expectations. Like the whole point of Star Wars was to flip Hollywood on its head and create something that hasn't been created, that goes against a lot of like common filmmaking processes and stuff like that. And Empire did that to New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Really flipped the whole formula on its head, ended kind of on a downbeat, which was not expected or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think that continues to today as well. And like, I think that's why it always works so well, is no matter your age, you're going to latch onto something. And as you grow older, there's going to be a whole other thing to tie to and learn. And throughout all of it, there's still going to be the different themes of hope and found family and stuff like that will, I think, resonate with pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Which is why it's more Star Wars is good Star Wars, right? Like it, you never know when. Like I never anticipated Rebels being like my favorite show.
Right.
When I first went to watch
I say the same thing when it comes to Andor. Like Rogue One, love the film. It was fantastic. I personally did not find Cassian Andor any sort of connection whatsoever. I thought he was just what he was a sacrificial lamb. He was the loyal soldier. Okay, not a problem. They announced that project. Zero expectations, zero interest whatsoever. I was just going to watch it for the story. That's it, just for the lore knowledge. The love that I have for that series, the respect that I have for that series, the acting in that series blew everything out of my mind. There was zero hate. Number one show, and this is coming from a Clone Wars stand.
I mean, there was some hate.
No.
The hate of bricks and screws.
Well, that wasn't Kenny's hate, though.
Yeah, no, not my hate. Not my hate.
But I think that just goes to show it, right? It's about subverting expectations, right? You hear a show announced about technically a side character of a non-Skywalker saga movie, and you're like, what? Why? Comes out and it's brilliant, right?
Yeah.
Which is why when it was first announced, that was one of the ones I was excited for the most, because I'm like, I know I'm gonna love Kenobi, I know I'm gonna love Ahsoka, but like, Andor, what's this gonna be about? Like, there's got to be something juicy here if you're pitching a whole show around it. So, and we got what we got, and I think Star Wars is better for it, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hands down. That's why I made my TikTok in the first place. was the fact that Andor has changed my way of thinking of storytelling to the point that it has now affected my thought processes through other projects. Like, I'm even re-looking at Kenobi differently. I'm re-looking Clone Wars differently. Rebels, Resistance, pick a project, any project. My thought processes has gotten to the point where if it doesn't at least be somewhat on par or at least a step or two below, it really didn't do anything. That goes into that toxic thing was where you stitched me.
It's not toxic. I mean, what I stitched you for wasn't to combat any kind of toxicity. I mean, I didn't think you was being toxic at all. 100%. That's your opinion. That's fine. I wasn't trying to be negative. If that was that came on, I apologize.
No.
So I was just saying, oh, this is a good debate. So hey, and that's what I said. It's there's different types of storytelling. You have evolved at that point in your life. That's where you're at. Like, and the whole Andor, it showed that hey, we can make a good series without lightsabers and having the Jedi and the Sith involved in it all. Because everybody was waiting for that. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was waiting to see, oh, let's see Vader, or let's see this, or like, no, this is just people. And you can make a show about Star Wars just with people who are being affected. And so here's a story that we're telling. And that's where you're at in your life with stories. And I mean, I guess come to understand that that's what we do as people. We just evolve what we like, different things. We change, and that's fine.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I the only thing I always worry about is holding, in like this example, Andor to every other piece of Star Wars. Is it gets a little dangerous because now you're potentially scorning things you used to love for not being like as good or meeting this certain threshold. But then it also implants the expectation that if future projects aren't this good, then like why not?
What's the point?
And I think part of the tough thing is a lot of people loved Andor because they went into it with no expectations, right? They're like, we'll see what it's going to be.
Exactly.
And that's when you get blown out of the water the most, I feel like.
Yeah.
So if you're using it as an expectation going forward with new projects,
as a standard,
now you're setting yourself up for failure when
I can see
if you would have treated it just like Andor, right? Going into it with no expectations, like, hey, this could be the best thing ever, or it could be, average, right? It could be decent. I think I just get concerned when I hear people like have such an adamant stand on it, because it's like, hey, don't get me wrong, it's my favorite live action show, and I still don't know if it beats Rebels or if it doesn't. I don't know. I'm still like so torn between the two.
But Andor and Rebels?
Adult Rebels. Like, really? You take the same story beats from Rebels, you have Andor, just non-childlike.
I mean, they're both dealing with the rebellion, I suppose.
Yeah.
And like early formation stuff with it, but I think that like as far as the stories go, they are both still very much so standalone, like kind of all-encompassed stories. But no, but and I think that's why, like, whenever anybody's like, so what are your predictions for this next episode or this new show? I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to have some preconceived notion of how I think the show is going to be, because if it doesn't hit that, then I'm only going to be disappointed, right? Like, I could still love what we got, but there's going to be that part of me that's like, man, my story was cooler because I made it for me. And it's like, well, it's fair. But that's when I feel like you see a lot of those comments online. They're like, oh, well, like, they should have had Darth Maul in the Kenobi show again, or Flash. It's like, that's serving you. That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
Right. And
what's
it's like
best for the story? What's best?
Yeah.
For the
what's best for the story?
involved?
What's best for the characters? Exactly. What's best for like Star Wars as a whole?
This is
what
why
makes the most sense for a new person who's watching this show for the first time. and
This
has
is why I
seen
keep
nothing else
saying
with
it,
Star Wars.
and I know Cal's about to disagree with me. There is no filler in Star Wars. That is an anime thing only.
That's
it
not
out of
anime
your
thing only
mind.
at all. Not true at all. So,
So,
filler doesn't mean that they're not adding lore.
mhm.
Filler just means that there's a main story, like a path from what was the conflict that we set up and what's the resolution. There's character growth that happens all between. But if it's not on that main path, for me personally, it's filler.
Gotcha.
Doesn't
Like-
mean I don't like it. Doesn't mean it doesn't add lore. Doesn't mean that it can't be enjoyed more than some of like the main story episodes. But for me, that's like what I define filler as.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking about it the other day because like with Bad Batch, I was like, what was the point of Genji? That whole thing, just to know that he's alive. But I was like, you know what? No, because everything in Star Wars has a purpose. For instance, there's line in New Hope, Clone Wars, and you maybe minute, but hey,
Oh yeah.
boom.
Now we have a whole era around it, right?
Right? Ahsoka went from the one of the most hated characters to the most loved characters, and now they have our own series. Like everything that like it's strategically placed. So who knows? And is they're making it so they can make more content. I know that for sure, and sell more merchandise. So
yeah, of course.
so that's
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm good.
I was gonna say, I think like having experience as a dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons, that's so like paired up with like what you wind up doing as a DM is you can just spew out a bunch of random stuff, but as long as you have notes on like what all that stuff is, that random, interaction that happened at a tavern months ago, you can write a whole thread off that if you want to. And that's what I love about Star Wars so much is it's like, oh yeah, that one character in the background. There's a whole freaking comic series about that character. I love that character. And it's like they're never even named or mentioned in the movie.
Why I have
like
my hot take on, and this would be more of a hot take towards you, Cal, is that there is no filler in Star Wars. Because if one line of dialogue can turn into an entire series.
Sure. Yeah, and the same thing can happen with anime and stuff like that too. I guess why it's technically considered filler in my mind is like the main story that is Star Wars is like the Skywalker saga, right? Like that's why it's the, episode 1, 2, 3, all the way to 9, right? Like that's the main story to Star Wars. So some could technically argue the whole concept of the show The Mandalorian's filler.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you can argue almost any series.
Yeah.
Like, period. It doesn't matter which one. So long
and
as
so I totally see what you're saying, Kenny, and like there's no such thing as filler because truly you can write a story about whatever the heck you want. But I feel like the word still has a definition.
Yeah.
And so like technically it is still considered that. Does that mean it's less than in any capacity? No, in some ways it can even be significantly better. And I think that's the magic of Star Wars is you can have a character like Bosk, right? That you see in Empire and you're like, wow, that's a cool lizard guy. Now he's like one of my favorite bounty hunters, right? Because of all of the extra material that's around them. And I think that's something that's so awesome about Star Wars is they take the time to like plant all of these little seeds, right?
Yeah.
Fair.
Get him, Cal. Get him, Cal.
No, I mean, we can go to Merriam-Webster and look it up.
Oh,
and
this is
prove me wrong, right?
this is gonna be great.
But I think that all like it's sure we can say definition wrong. I don't care. But for me, that's kind of like what filler has been. Is if it doesn't tie to a main story, it's filler.
And I agree with you on that one, Cal. Like, unless there's a point to the story, like the actual main part of the story, then anything else that's off of that is going to be considered filler. And same thing with, like, say, character development that has nothing to do with the character, or he doesn't use it within that same main, then that would also be considered filler.
I think like the proper definition of filler is you see it in anime and stuff like that a lot where the production must go on, but there's no story there.
Yeah.
So they still need to create episodes. So it'll be something that happens that's never referenced again. Right. And I
Yeah.
think that's technically more of the definition of filler. But a lot of people wind up changing the definition to kind of fit anything that doesn't follow like the main breadcrumb trail that was pitched with like the story's conception. So I think that like that's where my mind is. But again, like you could technically call anything filler. It doesn't necessarily mean it's right or wrong, but it's how you want to label it. And I think that the biggest problem is when people use it as a derogatory term.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
that's something that I don't agree with. You can just say, hey, this wasn't interesting to me because it wasn't dealing with the characters that I care about or part of the story that I want to see more. Doesn't inherently mean it's filler. That doesn't mean it's not good. It just means that, hey, this episode wasn't for me this week, but we got next week.
Exactly, and I concur 100% on that one because that's what storytelling is. Every story is not going to just hit you in the breadbasket every time, or in the heart, or in the feels. It's like, yeah, lackluster. Oh, what you talking about? I really love that one. No, it's like, it's like every story is different.
I think the funny thing is that people forget that like disagreeing is okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like that's if anything that should be something that's celebrated,
hmm
because just like how we're talking about how hey, this episode was more impactful to me, or no, it was more impactful to me, whatever. That just shows that how wide this franchise can cover, and that's why I always say more Star Wars is good Star Wars, right? Because it pulls in people from all walks of life who have different backgrounds from you and stuff like that. So it is good that people disagree and stuff like that. So that way more Star Wars fans can exist.
Okay. Well, Mr. Pep is saying the term filler is to describe events that are chronologically and narratively irrelevant from the canonically story
Oh,
threads, e.g., Naruto. Naruto's the best.
Oh, it is
Oh my
totally
god!
fine.
It's just
See,
every
I
time somebody
hate
talks
I
about
hate
filler, you talk
using
about Naruto.
Naruto as an example because
But
there's
it's so good at it,
so
though, unfortunately.
much,
Yeah.
It's a lot of
so
filler.
much.
So Naruto's currently chasing Sasuke. Next episode, he's enjoying ramen. I want some ramen too right now. Shit, I'm hungry. And
But
doing chores.
a lot of times that's always pitched as like a different point in time,
hmm
right? Like a flashback, or hey, here's a memory while we're waiting for the main story to continue, right?
Yeah.
The problem that I wind up having, and this happens with a lot of different anime, not just Naruto, is where something will happen and then the characters, the abilities that were obtained are never referenced again,
Hmm.
and they just don't exist anymore. I remember that happens in Dragon Ball a lot, where I'm like, why isn't Goku using this form? Oh, that's because it was in a movie that I guess is just
That
filler.
doesn't count.
It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. No, I
And
get
Star
yeah.
Wars, I think, does such a better job at tying things together, but even then they're not perfect at it, which is why we see
Mhm.
like the variances at the beginning of Bad Batch with like the comic and Kanan and stuff like that. There's the Ahsoka novel and stuff like that has these moments of like, wait, what's canon now and stuff like that. And so it's like, it's tough because sure, there's all of these different story beats you can pull off of and write new stories on, but the problem is when somebody writes a story on it and then that
Mhm.
story is not respected, it can be a little frustrating for people who've consumed that media and know that story to not see it like faithfully recreated.
Mhm.
And that can be a little problematic, but it's tough.
It is. I mean, sometimes you just gotta let go of the story that you love and just go with the story that's there.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, I mean, it's not like it's gonna kill you, or it's not like, oh, we're scrapping everything in Star Wars. Lightsabers don't exist. The Force is a lie, and
Right.
and
Don't
Darth
eat
Vader is
cake.
not Luke's son or Luke's father, and yeah, blah blah blah.
And I think what I find actually enjoyable about those things is coming up with creative ways for it to still kind of make sense.
Mhm.
Like, for example, with like midichlorians and stuff like that, when people are like, get the science out of my Star Wars and stuff like that. It's like, You could also just rationalize it as that's how the Jedi at the time saw it as, right? They don't
Mhm.
necessarily have everything figured out or have it 100% right.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't have to be this concrete truth that everything's defined by and stuff like that. So it's like there is an abstract flow to it to where you can interpret it in a way that still makes it make sense in the grand story of everything. But choosing not to and just saying, hey, this is stupid and writing it off, it's like, I don't know. I care about Star Wars a lot. I want to love it. So I would rather put my energy into finding a way to love this than to finding a way to hate it.
Yeah, I get that. Pep says, but those discrepancies are called continuity errors or retroactive continuities. But within an isolated show or series, what you consider to be filler is a thread that is on a continuum.
I mean, yeah.
Debate over.
That's how I see it, right? Like I see it as like if it's not like
Okay, Paul.
for me, side quests are filler. Sure, the character growth happens and stuff like that, but it's the stuff that takes me away from what I want to see. Am I upset by it? I'm gonna stamp it with Cal's definition of filler and move on. I'm still gonna
Opinions
watch.
are
I'm still gonna enjoy
celebrated.
it. I don't know.
Opinions
Oh.
are celebrated.
That messed me up. So just how you like okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to get a whole like speech and you okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough because it's like, on one hand, words mean things, but also words wind up taking on like a more nebulous definition based on like society as a whole at the time.
That is 100%. 100%.
So it's like what is considered textbook definition filler can kind of change, and again, too, like I just have my own perspective on it. It's I use it as a positive label, not as a derogatory term. So for me, it's like what can be considered filler doesn't mean that it's bad by any means, but I still just enjoy it. Oh, for sure. No, I totally get it, Pep. I see the same thing too, all the time.
People using retcon. Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. Yeah. It sucks because
Especially when they use it for trying to like rationalize why they hate something, when it's like, okay, you just didn't like that this character was in it and you don't want to come to terms with that.
yeah,
You can label
That's
it
why when
however
I-
you want to label it, but
That's why anytime I talk about Star Wars on TikTok, I'm always trying to stay on the positive side. I will
Mhm.
quite literally voice my opinions on what I dislike or what I absolutely love,
Mhm.
but I always try to keep it as respectful as I can. Like, be open-minded to the possibility that, yeah, you're going to be wrong. But
Oh,
what
yeah.
I know is what I know.
See, I don't know how y'all get on the bad side to Star Wars. I think 3 times in my whole history of TikTok, people have tried to come at me, and I just shut them down. I'm like, I don't know if I give them a black man stare, like, and they were like,
I don't think I ever find myself on the bad side of it, but I hear the horror stories and like I'll see videos of people talking about like for example, we're talking about bricks and screws and stuff like that. Like how that whole Star Wars theory take spun off. I don't watch them anymore, and like this is a take that I didn't witness myself, but
Exactly.
it's a more toxic side of Star Wars that I
It's
have
not
exposure
good.
to
I
just due
decided
to-
to expose myself to it, and it was not
Yep.
good. Like it was disgusting.
I tell you, I'll tell you a story. I did a while ago, like a year ago. Somebody, he's probably still on TikTok, but he hated Disney Star Wars. He's like, okay, this and this, and he compared everything with politics with Star Wars. I'm like, stop this. Like, okay, I get it, what you're doing, and that's fine. There's politics in Star Wars. It's a correlation. We understand that. George Lucas did that, but you're just it's sickening. And so I combated one time about Star Wars and Disney. I was like, I just said they can do what they want. They own the rights.
Yeah.
Like when you own something, you can do the hell you want. If they want to piss on it and throw it in the ground, let them do it. That's
if you want to buy an IP and never create anything on it ever, you can do that. It's your
exactly. And it went back and forth, me and him. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then his girl tried to hop in my comments one time and try to like talk crap to me. I was like, oh, hold up. I said, look, bro, your girl's in the comments. I will roast her ass. You don't want this fight. You don't want this fight. And she deleted her comment. And ever since then, I had no issues with toxic Star Wars. And it's like, I guess it's just, I don't know. I hate to see people go through that because I've always been like the person who stood up for the little guy because I've always been tall. Like I was fucking 6 foot in sixth grade. I had a freaking growth spurt. I don't know what happened, but and I was always like the one who stood up. So yeah, it's that was a little rant, but anyway.
No, I mean, I've posted some videos here and there on TikTok just about Star Wars ideas and stuff like that. And I remember one I posted was like my TV show ranking. And I remember I put Rebels at number 1 and Clone Wars like just above Resistance near the bottom. And someone's like, L-Take, you're just a Disney show and stuff. I'm like, didn't Disney also like make Clone Wars too? Like,
yeah.
Okay. But I was just like, I mean, it is an opinion, right? Like, I don't particularly resonate with a lot of the characters of Clone Wars, and I think it goes too many different directions to have like one like cohesive story to me. Not to say that it doesn't have one, but like for me, it's just it's a bit too scattered for me to enjoy fully.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I jive with Rebels a lot. My bad. There's characters that spoke directly to me in it, so it's
I understand that 100%.
Yeah.
Clone Wars for me, on the other hand, since you're a Rebel fan, it's like talking to the old soldiers. If you ever had a chance to actually just sit with a vet or with multiple different vets, especially those who sat with like done the same battles, the exact same battles, you can hear 100 different stories, all on that same singular battle. That's what Clone Wars was for me.
Oh, 100%.
Like you're just understanding the story and these individual stories and from their POV.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other thing that gets missed too is it's like, just because it's at the bottom doesn't mean I don't love it. Right? Like it's just love, a little bit more 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 love. So it's like there's a reason why I have one tattoo, and it's the Rebel Alliance logo over my heart. Is just I love Star Wars. It will always be a part of my life and something that I will find love in no matter the show. That said, I prefer Rebels more because I like the Ghost Crew more.
I just love the character development of a lot of the main characters from Star Wars, from Clone Wars. Like, as DePaul knows, Mommy Dami is the only woman next to my wife who can have me on this bed at any given time.
Jeez.
Hey, respect. That's what's up. Hey, that's all good. You know what you like. So, all right, cool. So with that, we're gonna probably end up wrapping it up. We're going an hour now, and we're not gonna close out yet. We're gonna wrap up the discussion. We're gonna, if you guys want to stay around, we're gonna do the giveaway. So if you guys are familiar, I was doing a giveaway for Star Wars Celebration tickets. It's only a pair of tickets, so a 4-day adult pass to Star Wars Celebration 2023. Unfortunately, this year I will not be attending, and I'm actually not sad because I'm going to be going to Disneyland. Take my family to Disneyland. I was
if there was a thing to be doing while not at Celebration, I think Disneyland's probably pretty high up there.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So got everything booked. We're going down there that same time frame, and so excited about that. But we are doing a raffle. I am doing a raffle, and I bought tickets. And I'm giving them away. So with that, we're going to pull up. You had time to enter. You had plenty of time to enter. You had months to enter, and we had some people enter, and I got everything up. Let me get this pulled up real fast.
Yeah, I'm excited.
The Wheel of Destiny.
The Wheel
Yeah.
of Destiny. So
Because I know that, like, I mean, I've seen a lot of chatter around Celebration, and as somebody who like couldn't get a ticket and wasn't planning on going last year, and then out of crazy generosity of people like you, DePaul, I was able to go. Let alone of your
Hey.
generosity again and getting to go take photos with some of the actors. Like, that's wild.
that was great, and I was
This
so
can be
happy.
life changing for people, so I
So-
like to see this stuff.
We're going to talk about that too, because that is super important. Just like I do this because I can. God has blessed me. I've been blessed with. I haven't always been like this, but I've always been giving. And when abundance is given to me, I give back. That's just how I do. I was like, because I can't use everything. So, if you ever heard the phrase "is lonely at the top," it's because it's not because you're by yourself. I mean, like, or you're the best of the best. It's because you're by yourself and you'll have nobody there with you. So why the hell waste your money on yourself? You can not waste it, but spend it on other people and enjoy life with them. So that's why I do. Like Cal, like that was amazing. Even like I was like, hey, why not? I mean, that's just be a waste of space, and I get 2 spots. Yeah, let's go see Ewan McGregor. Let's go get these pictures taken care of. Come on, let's go.
That was a great story. Had to have DePaul calm me down on that one.
Yeah, he was like.
Just like
I was like, oh, okay.
That's
I was
pretty
like,
wild.
man. All right, guys. So we're gonna spin this right now. Let me see if I can get this.
I'm hoping in 2025 that I can go. I would love to go, especially if it's back in the States.
I hope it's not in
Yeah,
Florida. I hope
hopefully.
it's in
I mean,
Chicago or.
The nice thing
somewhere
is
else.
with us getting a year off,
You can save up.
save up.
Yeah.
That I'm actually kind of really happy that it's giving us a year because I'm trying to move. So,
Right. Yeah.
It's like
that'd
cool.
be
I can
nice.
actually save. This is great.
And we have a nice another karaoke night.
Yes, please. That was a blast.
That was a blast.
I
My
keep hearing
knees
about
were
this thing. I
bruised
need to see
for
video
weeks.
evidence of this. Somebody
Oh,
put
yeah,
it
I
on
got-
like a.
I got
You got a few.
footage. I
You got
got
a few.
footage.
All right. Well, with that said, we're gonna go ahead and spin this wheel. How
Let's
this
go.
works is I click it once, it spins. It's a randomizer. All the names that enter the drawings right here. I will be contacting them. I already sent out a email blast or a SMS blast, text message to them, let them know that we were doing today, so they know. And if I can't contact you through phone number, you will be contacted through email as well. Hopefully, you gave me the right information because this is a real deal and this is time. So if you don't answer, you have about, I would say, 24 hours to reply, and then I'll pick the next person. And the ticket will not be mailed to you because it's international. So if you are in London, if you're in London, you will be getting with this man right here because I transferred all the tickets to his name. So you'll be getting to this man email blast, yes, a text blast. How about that? Damn it, man!
Snapchat blast.
Snapchat blast.
Oh, God. I thought I was going Messenger like Yahoo or something.
So
Yahoo.
yes, that's how this works. So Pep he actually has the tickets because there'll be a will call and he'll be just dispensing the tickets there. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and spin that
Wheel.
Yay. It's exciting.
Dum, 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 dum. Who's doing it? Who's getting it?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say I picked a name from the list.
Oh, that was
Oh.
close.
I wanted
that
to see
was
if
so-
the name I mentally picked matched, and no, it didn't. It
No,
was
it didn't
close.
match.
No, I picked
Marie
Noah.
B. So I got your last name, so I'll congratulations, Marie
Yay,
B.
Marie.
And yeah, I'll be contacting you, reaching out to you. And
I have a
we'll get that
lightsaber for
information.
light in it.
Right. I got to charge mine up too, right? And yeah, we'll get you that information so you can get that ticket. Hopefully you have fun there. And yes, congratulations. May the force be with you and you up and up for life. But yeah, you'll have a great time because you'll be with some friends. I know Dyad and Force and the Dyads will be there along with some other people in the Star Wars community that you'll have a great time with. So
Awesome
enjoy, have fun, and wish you the best. But yeah, guys, so that is that one right there. That was see, I love doing that. Let me stop sharing.
That just makes me like want my Twitch stream to get like super big to where I can do stuff like that and just give out a bunch of stuff. I think that's
Dude,
so
I'm
cool.
about to do crazy stuff. I've been networking so much in the past 5 years. I'm about to start giving vacations away, getaway. Like I got stuff. I'm actually the next giveaway we're going to be doing is a lightsaber from Level Up Lightsaber.
Oh,
Yeah, so I actually have to fix the form for that, so I can put it on my socials again and do that one. But yeah, so that's the next giveaway we'll be doing probably in a month or so. But yeah, it's a nice, actually kind of like that one, but that Kenny's holding. He had a special, and I bought a couple of them. So I was like, "Yep, let's do it." And so yeah, so stay tuned for that. If you like giveaways, like lightsabers, this is the place to be. Tell your friends, tell your kids, tell your mama, tell your daddy, whatever you want to tell them.
Tell everybody.
Tell everybody. But yeah. So what else? That and that we did that giveaway. So yeah. So I think we're gonna end up wrapping this up. One more thing. Another thing I'll be doing. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, there'll be a form that you can fill out. And if you have a topic that you want to talk about, you make suggestions. And hey, if it's good enough, we'll have you on. If we have time, we'll have you on. So I have no problem with that. So I want to make this a safe place for everybody, a place where people can have fun, debate friendly, civilly, and just talk Star Wars and nerd out about stuff. So yeah, that'll be coming soon. So we'll have an actual list, like a form that you can fill out. Say, hey, I want to talk about this, XYZ.
When that does, I want to put my name down because I know me and JJ, Cat Lady JJ or Dragon Lady JJ, have been wanting to do a sequel talk.
Okay.
I'd always be down for that too.
Right?
Awesome. I'm down for that too. All right. So with that, guys, we're going to go around the horn, tell the guys, the people where they can find you.
I guess I'll start. Count 4 pretty much anywhere, primarily on Twitch. So come check me out there if you want to watch a bunch of people be really dumb and play games. It's a good time.
It's a great time. It's always a great time. Darthman86 on TikTok, guys. Darthman_86 on Twitter. Always Star Wars, always MCU. Small plug. Master Allen has got 2 codes going on for his Level Up lightsabers. The entire list. I think it's 10% for Tree, 15 for Saber, and 15 for Pod ones. So use those codes, pick a Saber, and always better than a stick.
Heck yeah.
Thank you for that. That's awesome. Yes. And great. They're great sabers. I love mine, and my daughter loves hers, and my wife loves hers. So yes. But so yeah, so cool. Awesome. So with that, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. So thank you. You can find me here on the Conspiracy Cantina. We'll be doing more consistently stuff. If it's not live, we'll be doing episodes out, recorded ones, if that. And also on TikTok under Jedi Master DePaul. And yeah, so had a great time. Thanks, guys, for being a guest on the show. Thanks for talking Star Wars, and can't wait to what the hell is Pep talking about now? Good talk.
I'm always wrong when it comes to that.
You're still wrong.
What the hell? Leave it to Pep. So until the next one, guys, thanks again, and thanks for joining us. And Take care, be safe, and be blessed. Oh, may the force be with you, and you have enough for life.
Enough for life. Let's go.